Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchist Ted.
And today we bring you another character build that has more skills than a barrel full of skill monkeys. Jump down the description below, or you can find Nerdarchy, the newsletter. Learn how to game with Nerdarchy, as well as get weekly tips.
So, we talked about revisiting the skill monkey build based off of new information that's come out throughout the Unearthed Arcana.
Yeah, you know, the last Unearthed Arcana, well, the last two Unearthed Arcanas at this point, definitely changed our opinions on some things. Artificer has to go into the mix just because it gets so many tool proficiencies. As a base class, it gets a decent amount of skill proficiencies, and it also gets a bunch of expertise.
So initially, the rogue was kind of the big go-to because you start off with 4 skills. But it's also one of those that if you take it as your secondary class, it does give you that 1 extra skill. So as long as you start off with a class that gives you 3, you're still gonna be at the 4.
So, I don't know, there's a card floating around here somewhere. If you click it, it can take you back to our original Skill Monkey build and see how we did things there. But now we're going to change things up and make it a little bit different than we did there. Some of it will be the same, but there's going to definitely be some tweaks now.
All right, so if my count is correct, and I'm certain you guys will correct me if I'm wrong, there's 18 skills in the game and a boatload of tool proficiencies. So let's start off, and we'll go in the proper order. So we're looking at races. Now there's 2 different options here. We're looking at 4 classes, so we are going to need a lot of good stats. You get 15, 14, 13, 12. So as long as you get something in the right plus, because you're going to need 4 13s, you should be fine. So race shouldn't matter all that much. But we have half-elf and we have human.
Okay, so there's a couple of ways you can look at this. One is you can go half elf because you're gonna get the best stat array out of it, as well as you're gonna get 2 skills, 3 languages. Perfect. Or you can go human, take the skilled feat, you're gonna get 3 additional skills, and you're gonna get 2+1s where you can put them wherever you need them. But we'll revisit why you might want to consider going human later.
So next we go to background. Now we're taking this as the course of your life. Now, anytime you're looking at something that's going to be highly skilled, I think you've got to be a guild artisan, right?
Well, you could go guild artisan. Actually, it doesn't really matter as much for this build. It just depends on the story you want to go with. Because really, what do we want to get? We just want to get.
We want to get some more stuff out of it.
Yeah, we need to get more skill proficiencies, more tool proficiency. So, guild artisan is actually a pretty good way to go.
Guild artisan gives you 2 skills, 1 tool, 1 language. Languages are not super important to this particular build. So there are other backgrounds that you might get 2 tools, 2 skills.
Well, even when you do get 2 tools, it tends to be like gambling, a gambling set and land vehicles or some kind of vehicles. Mm-hmm. So it isn't really, I don't think, well, I guess it is a tool proficiency. It's not really the ones we're kind of looking for.
Right.
But, this is where you can kind of tweak it and then decide. And also decide whether or not we're actually, in our skill monkey character, if we're actually encompassing languages or not. Mm-hmm. If you're not, then you might want to go with something else. Like, actually, Soldier would give you a gambling set and vehicles. Mm-hmm. I believe, same thing with Sailor. Sailor would be, I think, navigation tools and like a gambling set. Mm-hmm. So
it's not as important, but for my particular setup here, yes. I like guild artisan. I think it fits the most, and it leads us right into our first class, which is artificer. So at artificer, you get 3 skills, and at first level, 3 tool proficiencies. Second level, you get a 4th. Now, all 4 of those tool proficiencies, you get expertise in.
Well, no. At first level, you can get that 4th. It just depends on your specialty. At second level, you get the expertise.
You get 4 tools at first level, and then the expertise in all of them at second level. And then we don't need artificer anymore.
We're done.
We're done with that. Your trek into all of this has led you on this quest for knowledge. And where might you find knowledge but in a deity? So after 2 levels of artificer, we're going to take a level of cleric, and we're going to go into the knowledge domain. That's going to get you 2 more skills, both with expertise. Now, there's certain options that you can pick, but come on, let's face it, it's the knowledge domain. You're getting bonuses to ones that are specifically your intelligence ones, so get used to it.
What else you got for me, Ted?
So then we're going to jump into Rogue. Now you've gotten a little bit more experience. You've probably done some things that you need to be a little bit more agile, a little bit more sneaky. So we're going to take.
No, you didn't. You did not at all. You went camping a bunch of times.
So we're going to go for 3 levels of Rogue.
You're a boy. You're a Boy Scout troop leader. I think this is what this one is.
Oh, actually, let me revisit Artificer. You're going to go with the gunsmith as your specialty because that's going to give you the 4th tool set,
Yes.
not the alchemist. Sorry.
And you can shoot things too. So why not?
You don't get Thundermonger, but you do get your cannon. So
Yes.
that's pretty cool. And by having 2 levels, you'll get a free magic item as well.
Ah, yeah. It's all around win-win.
So, Artificer, Cleric, Knowledge Domain, then we go to Rogue. And here we're going to visit the newest Unearthed Arcana, and we're going to go for Scout. Because when we hit Scout is one of those that when you hit 3rd level, you get 2 more skills, and they come with expertise. So you've already picked up 2 expertise earlier at your low levels of Rogue. I think it's 2nd level. Could be wrong. But 3 levels, you're going to wind up with expertise and 4 skills, and you've gained a total of 3 skills by becoming this 3rd level of Rogue.
How many skills are we up to? What do we got now?
Well, at this point in time, we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9. By the time we get to 3rd level of Rogue, we are at 12 skills.
12 skills. We're 6th level. Now, are we counting tool proficiencies?
No. By the time we get to there, by becoming a rogue, you're also going to get a tool proficiency that puts you up to 7.
So 7 tool proficiencies. And how many skill proficiencies?
12.
Wow, that's insane.
And this is as a 6th level character.
You're a 6th level character. Nice. So you're still pretty skill heavy right there. I mean, I don't know how we could even do any better than that.
Well, then we go to the jack of all trades, the bard. And by
Oh, wait a minute. Is that with the half elf or with the human?
So that was going off of the half elf. If we go with the human, we have some more modifications that we can do.
Okay. So if we go off of the human, we did mention taking the skilled feat, so that's 13 if you do that. So you're either a half elf 12, human 13.
So if we go, next we move on to Bard. Now Bard is pretty much where we're looking to finish things out, but suppose you like some of the other abilities that you want to get in there. You do have 4 levels to play with as you see fit, so go ahead and sprinkle them as you want, because we only need 10 levels of Bard. And when we take Bard, we're going to, obviously you're going to go with a College of Lore. We get 1 just for becoming a Bard, because Bards are skill-heavy characters. And then when we take College of Lore, boom, we get 3.
So that brings us up to 16.
16 skills as a half-elf.
Right. Ooh,
18 if we go human.
18 if we go human. Oh, did we forget we also learned 3 more tool proficiencies? Instruments?
We do wind up with the instruments for being a bard, which would fall into the crazy ridiculous amounts of tools.
So is that now 10 for tools?
Yes.
We're expertise in 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're up to either 16
or 18.
16 or 18 skills.
Depending upon whether you want to be a half-elf or a human.
And, okay. And how many expertises?
Well, by the time we finish off with Bard...
Your build makes my head hurt, by the way.
By the time you finish off with Bard, which is only up to level 10, you have wound up with 10 expertises in your skills. You get 2 from Cleric, 4 from Rogue, 4 from Bard. Then when we go into the expertises for our tool proficiencies, we wind up with 4.
I don't know if you realize this, but 3 levels in Warlock can give you 2 more skill proficiencies.
We don't need them.
Well, if we're human, we don't need them. If we're a half elf, we might want them.
if you go with half elf, you could wind up going in that direction, and getting your invocations to get the deception and whatever the other one is.
Yeah, I think it might be no. What is it? Deception and
intimidation, maybe.
I'm not sure. I don't remember. They're both charisma based. It might be deception and persuasion, but either way, you could go that route. Okay, so.
And you already have the 13 charisma that you would need for
Yeah.
that anyway. So this build, you need to start off with your artisan. You need a 13 in wisdom, dex, charisma, and intelligence. And
You're going to get proficiency in shields, light armor,
medium armor.
No, unfortunately, no heavy armor. And you're going to have simple weapons and some extra weapons sprinkled through.
Handful of little minery things.
From probably just from Rogue, I think.
You will of course have your awesome thunder stick or boom cannon or whatever you want to call your cool
Bard
gun.
might get that mix of weapon proficiencies as well. Although when you gain them for multi-class, it might be different anyway.
Right.
So I don't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, so the way we have it, we have two different ways to get 18 skills. Whether you want to go warlock or not, you have that option. How many skills are in the game?
18.
Son of a bitch. and then we also have 10 tool proficiencies. Yeah, we'd done the Skill Monkey a while ago, and Ted's like, "Hey, you mentioned revisiting," and I was just kind of like, I don't know how serious I was with the artificer, but then they landed this archetype.
When I pulled out the abacus, and I'm like, "Look at all the stuff I can figure out."
I don't know. It's ridiculous. Now, I know Ted did a really great, early on anyway, a great narration. Personally, I would call bullshit as the GM because there is no way to make all that make sense. Like, you're just talking out your ass. Like, Ryan would really probably try really hard and explain it. But at the end of the day, I think you're really just talking out your ass at that point. And when you're going Bard, Warlock, you can kind of mix into anything only because of the nature of the class. But Bard, Warlock, Artificer, Cleric, Rogue... And, you really are...
Well, I can mix Artificer, Cleric of Knowledge, and Bard together without too much of a problem. The Rogue Scout, I think, is the hardest to get into this mix.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
everything else can kind of mix well, but if you're looking for... I'm on a quest for knowledge, and it's wherever my studies travel, wherever it takes me. Now, at the end of the day, if you're looking to just build a skill monkey character, I can't think of a better way to be able to get all of this stuff.
A better way to get every single skill in the game, and you just can't think of it? Try harder, Ted. Try harder.
But here's a way to actually make that happen. And the random tool proficiencies that you're not proficient with, as a bard, jack of all trades, you'll get half your prof mod to it, as well as to that initiative modifier, which is always nice.
Yeah. So you've basically made one of the coolest features in the game that the bard happens to have.
Useless.
Virtually useless. Initiative bump is always nice. But what do you guys think? Was it completely ridiculous? How many of you are shaking your head, shaking your fists? Nerdarchist Power Gamers. Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can hang out with us over on Facebook.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.